In today's video, we'll be taking a look at evidence of aliens in ancient Japan. Japan may not have as many alien sightings compared to countries like the USA, but that doesn't mean there's a lack of evidence though. Over the years, investigations have uncovered various artifacts as well as reported encounters. Some of these are quite intriguing. If you're curious to know more, let's dive right in. Japan has a long history stretching back thousands of years into prehistoric times. Back then, it was a bunch of separate tribes and kingdoms. Archaeologists don't know much about these kingdoms. Even today, they're still finding mysterious artifacts from that era. One such group of artifacts is the DOGU dolls. The DOGU dolls were crafted by a group of people called the Jomon in 7000 BC. These clay figurines are strangely shaped and possess inhuman features. This includes huge eyes, oval-shaped heads, large stomachs, and very wide hips. UFO believers claim that the Jomon people created these dolls to emulate the appearance of aliens. They may have encountered these beings at some point. Naturally, advanced alien visitors would inspire awe in the tribal folk. The tribespeople would then craft dolls in the likeness of these aliens. It could have been a form of worship. Archaeologists dispute this claim. They believe that the DOGU dolls were representations of fertility deities. These were some of the mother goddesses that the Jomon worshipped. The wide hips and bellies were simulating pregnancies. The dolls may have also served another purpose, being recipients of diseases. A person would pray to get rid of a physical or perhaps emotional illness. This illness would then be passed on to the figure. DOGU dolls have been found that are missing body parts, showing no other signs of damage. The ill person would have amputated that part of the doll's body corresponding to their ailment. A prehistoric Japanese voodoo doll, in short. If these dolls possess such great power, maybe they weren't mystical at all. Maybe the aliens gave the Jomon advanced technology that could heal any wound. Apart from the DOGU dolls, Japanese mythology is also full of strange stories involving gods and spirits. Some of these could be linked to extraterrestrials. For example, the Ishino-Hoden megalith. It is a 500-ton stone said to have the soul of a kami, or god, inside it. The rock is also called Ame no Kishi. This translates to floating rock from the heavens. According to mythology, this rock was modeled after a mystical floating rock from the legend of Ama no Iwafune. The name means heavenly rock ship. The legend states that a deity flew through the heavens in this giant stone vehicle. Conspiracy theorists believe the legend talks about an extraterrestrial being flying in their UFO. The people of the time probably couldn't describe the true nature of the ship well. Another unusual rock formation in Japan is Masuda no Iwafune. It's an 800-ton structure carved from a single piece of granite. It does not resemble any other architecture in Japan. Some say it's a tomb, but most think it's a skyboat in ancient stories. Even its appearance resembles that of a UFO. There are two square hatches on top, and it's oval-shaped. Masuda no Iwafune may also be a replica of a divine vehicle. There's also the tale of Princess Kaguya, which we covered in a previous video. To sum it up, an infant girl from the moon was found on Earth. Raised by a farmer, she grew up and later returned to the moon along with an entourage of other glowing beings. Japanese mythology also claims that the legendary first emperor was a descendant of the sun goddess. Known as Emperor Jimmu, he descended from Amaterasu through her grandson, Ninigi. Amaterasu was a major Japanese god, born when the creator god Izanagi washed his left eye. This may have been how primitive people interpreted an alien leaving the mothership. Emperor Jimmu was enthroned in the year 660 BC. It is commonly accepted that emperors have reigned over Japan for more than 1,500 years. They have all descended from the same family. This means that, yes, our modern-day Japanese royals may have alien blood in them still. Another unusual aspect of ancient Japanese history would be their burial mounds. Known as kofun, they are large, keyhole-shaped burial mounds surrounded by moats. The largest of these tombs is in Osaka, Japan. These mounds are so large they can only be seen fully from the sky. Japan contains over 160,000 kofuns. The large size of the kofuns is supposedly so their sky-dwelling gods could recognize the final resting place of bodies. Or perhaps they were alien beacons. And of course, there have also been UFO sightings. In 1803, a round vessel drifted ashore on the Japanese coast. It was made of wood, and the upper portion had glass windows. A beautiful woman emerged wearing strange clothing and carrying a box. She was unable to communicate with the locals, and her craft was marked with mysterious writing. After trying and failing to talk with her, the fishermen then returned her and the vessel to sea. It drifted away and was never seen again. The story of Utsuborune, or hollow ship, is found in many records of the Edo period. Yet, till today, nobody has clear answers about who or what this woman was. The designer of Japan's World War II Zero fighter planes also researched UFOs. During the design phase, Horikoshi Jiro studied reports of flying saucers and their flight methods. He drafted an unpublished research paper on flying saucers. It was unfortunately never released for public viewing. The paper was written based on a UFO sighting by Kenneth Arnold in America on June 24, 1947. It's safe to say Japan has its fair share of UFO lore and sightings. There are many mysterious things yet to be uncovered in the East Asian country. As technology advances, there will likely be more and more information coming to light.
In this video, we'll take a look at the presence of aliens in human mythology. Across many cultures, mythology contains stories of gods and heroes accomplishing impossible feats. These beings usually wield supernatural powers, but some people believe that instead of magic, the myths describe aliens possessing superior technology. If you're interested in finding out more, let's get right into the video. In mythology, gods were often said to arrive from the sky. These gods would descend to a formless earth. There, they shaped the land and all living things on it for their own purposes. For example, the ancient Sumerian myth of Enuma Elish says humankind was created to serve gods called the Anunnaki. If you've watched our previous videos, you'll be familiar with that name. The myth claims that these gods created us to mine gold for them. We were slaves, meant to labor so our divine masters wouldn't wear themselves out. This sounds like the premise of a science fiction movie, doesn't it? Conspiracy theorists believe so as well. They claim the Anunnaki were aliens who came to Earth to mine gold. When they arrived, the Anunnaki helped humanity develop, in exchange for our servitude. Another common motif in myth is that of gods emerging out of primordial chaos. This chaos is usually depicted as either a dark ocean or a vast emptiness. Out of this darkness, the gods come into being. Could this be describing spaceships arriving from space? After all, space is often seen to be a dark, starry ocean of sorts. Various creation myths worldwide also seem to tie in with extraterrestrial visitations. The indigenous people of Australia tell a story of how everything on Earth was asleep. The father of all spirits was the only one awake, and he woke the Sun Mother. He commanded her to go down and give the spirits of the Earth forms. She woke the plants, insects, caves, and everything on Earth until it was finished. The father of all spirits was pleased with the Sun Mother's work. Later, the Sun Mother gave birth to two children, the Morning Star and the Moon. Those two gave birth to children that later became humanity's ancestors. This may be a straightforward supernatural tale or an elaborate metaphor for terraforming. The Earth already seemed to exist in their myth, but was empty. Perhaps the father was an alien on board the mother ship, who commanded his followers to descend and terraform the planet, seeding it with life. Note the usage of woke instead of created. This may imply they already had the DNA in storage on their ship. We also have the Ainu creation story. They believe the world was created when oil from the ocean rose as a flame to the sky. What was left was land. The water vapor created two gods descending on 5 colored clouds. These two gods created all other life on Earth as well as other deities. Lastly, let's take a look at the Polynesian creation myth. This seems to be the most blatant one. According to their myth, the world emerged from a shell. When the shell slowly opened, a light came inside. The top of the shell became Rangi, sky, and the bottom, Papa, earth. Rangi and Papa loved each other and gave birth to 70 powerful gods that helped in creating the world as it is today. As mentioned at the start, myths tell of many seemingly implausible feats. Heroes lifting entire mountains, gods drinking the sea, and lots more. The technology level of these alien visitors must have been mind-blowing. In previous videos, we went over the theory of aliens helping various civilizations develop. This includes evidence at sites such as Teotihuacan and the Egyptian pyramids. These were built using techniques seemingly too advanced for their era. Even in the present day, isolated tribes of people still mistake our modern technology for divine artifacts. For example, in the early 20th century, many cargo cults sprung up. These were cultures suddenly exposed to Western technology. Planes, ships, and even soft drink bottles became object of worship sent by their gods. To the primitive minds of millennia past, advanced alien technology would be even more awe-inspiring. In fact, we can find quite a few written descriptions of this technology in myths. One, which we've covered before, is the Vimana, a chariot of the gods from Hindu mythology. You can check out our previous video for more information. In short, it was described as a flying vehicle. To quote an 1889 translation of the Hindu epic Mahabharata, Bhima flew with his Vimana on an enormous ray which was as brilliant as the sun, and made a noise like the thunder of a storm. The way it's described brings to mind a jet plane. The story of how the Greek gods came to be may also indicate advanced technology. The Titan Kronos was the father of the Greek gods. He had swallowed all his infant children, but one was hidden away. This was Zeus. Zeus eventually made his father vomit up all the gods he had swallowed and then killed him. Conspiracy theorists believe this was a metaphor for the alien mothership expelling rebellious aliens. To them, the story of infant gods surviving for years within a giant's stomach sounds implausible. Apart from that, there's also the tale of the bamboo cutter. It describes in great detail what seems to be an alien encounter in ancient Japan. Also known as Princess Kaguya's tale, the legend is the oldest surviving piece of Japanese fiction. It was written in either the late 9th or early 10th century. A long time ago, an old man was cutting bamboo. He came upon a strange glittering log. It was as if the log was illuminated by the moon. He split the log open and found a tiny little girl inside, about 7 centimeters tall. The man and his wife had no children. They raised the tiny girl as their own, naming her Kaguya, which means moonlight. As she grew, the bamboo branch where she was found began to produce rare jewels. This made the bamboo cutter a rich man. Could Kaguya have been an extraterrestrial visitor? Let's hear the rest of the story and you can decide. Kaguya grew into a seemingly normal girl, albeit with unnatural beauty. Over the years, people learned of her existence and began courting her. On one occasion, she even had 5 gentlemen approaching her house at once. But Kaguya refused to take a husband. She would make impossible requests of her suitors to drive them away. The emperor soon discovered her existence. He too fell madly in love on seeing her. Unfortunately, she again refused. The emperor tried to take her by force to his palace. She resisted, saying that if he did so, she would disappear forever. Princess Kaguya grew melancholy, watching the sky every night. Eventually, she confessed her true origins to her parents. Kaguya was a visitor from the moon and meant to return soon. Upon learning of this, the emperor sent guards to her house to prevent her from escaping. One night, the moon was covered by a cloud. This cloud soon descended towards the earth while the sky grew darker. A carriage manned by shining beings arrived to take Kaguya home. She left a letter and a small bottle of the elixir of life for the emperor before leaving. He was too frightened to use it and ordered for the elixir to be disposed of. Mythology is ripe with tales of mysterious beings and gods appearing from nowhere to influence our world. Are these supernatural beings? Are they extraterrestrials with unimaginably advanced tech? we may never know the truth.